Jiang dressed up as Long Aotian, his 3.5-year-old daughter living in a doghouse, in a mindless and refreshing novel. Don't be afraid, daughter. Dad is here. At the command of my father, Long Aotian, the hidden family of H country stepped forward one after another, and in just a few minutes, they defeated the oppressive host family. Legend has it that the cold-blooded and cruel 5 hall masters under the Dragon King became my nannies and bodyguards, holding storybooks and telling me bedtime stories all day long. The dragon ring, whose eyes would be gouged out at a glance, was thrown to me by my father as a toy to play with. In order to win the favor of Long Aotian's father, Jiang practices being cute in front of the mirror every night. The Dragon King had a milk dumpling by his side, and after seeing it, various experts expressed their desire to steal it. Dragon King, miss, she had a fight in kindergarten. In 1 minute, call everyone to support my daughter. No. Miss, she knocked that group of people down with just one hand. Long Aotian's father smirked with evil charm. Look, his daughter is the best. Jiang accidentally saved a boy with amnesia. Who would have thought that when the boy grew up, he would become the ultimate villain in the text who ultimately killed her Long Aotian father? Dad is with her, dad is dead, she is dead. In order to survive, Jiang completely transformed into a father boaster. Brother Jiu, my father is the best person in the world, and you are also the best person in the world. How about you be good friends? Okay, my good friend's gift of her daughter to me is not worth it, right? Watching the villain's conspiratorial smile succeed, Jiang realized she had been deceived. Keywords of the novel. Time traveling becomes Long Aotian's daughter. No pop-ups. Time traveling becomes Long Aotian's daughter. Complete collection download. Time traveling becomes Long Aotian's daughter. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. I awaken from the doghouse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I awaken from the doghouse. It's so cold, so smelly, so painful. After a sudden sense of weightlessness, Jiang gradually regained consciousness, and the pain immediately made her eyebrows furrow. Various parts of the body seemed to be torn apart alive, especially the head, as if countless Rome mama were living inside, constantly pricking her brain with small needles. Strange, why is it so cold? Didn't she turn on the air conditioning? Has there been a thief at home? Not only did she turn off her air conditioning, but also beat her up. Roast, why is this thief's quality so low? Jiang struggled to open her eyelids, her gaze somewhat blurred. With the dim light around her, she quickly recognized that this was not her bedroom. How could this doghouse-like place be her bedroom? There is a strange smell in the air, and Jiang sniffed it. Can't this really be a doghouse? Jiang tried to get up from the ground in agony, but her hands and feet were soft and unable to exert any force. The foul smell in the air was mixed with a faint smell of blood, which was from her own body. Now she must have been injured all over, and such a foul smell cannot cover up the bloody smell on her body. Wait, she wants to see who dares to sneak attack her and leave her in the doghouse. Ha, wait. As soon as she spoke, she realized something was wrong. Ah. The soft and slightly weak voice completely confused Jiang. Did she just speak? Her voice change period has long passed, so why has her voice changed to that of a child? How is Jia fat? Jiang. Yeah, she doesn't want to speak anymore. Not only has her voice changed, but she can't even speak clearly. Jiang slowly had a ridiculous guess in her heart, and she gritted her teeth and raised her hand before her eyes. Looking at the dirty and skinny little hand in front of her, Jiang seemed to have forgotten even the pain. Her mind was filled with only one sentence. She has become a child. If it's a dream, please let her wake up now. Although her body has become smaller, people are still prone to rotting. Jiang's heart turned horizontal, and her hand also fell to the ground. At the beginning, she was in the doghouse, still a half-dead child. Put it on, destroy it. Someone, you guys put your child in the doghouse. Jiang weakly shouted, not sure if anyone heard her, but now there was only one solution. If she didn't go to the hospital for her injuries, she would likely die directly. Traveling through thousands of millions, with all kinds of golden fingers, she didn't even have one. She had to die in the doghouse at the beginning. Did she wear that kind of cannon fodder that ended in the first episode? Sir, I seem to hear a child's voice. Just as Jiang was about to close her eyes, a noisy sound of footsteps suddenly came from around. Upon hearing the man's voice, Jiang's heart was filled with joy. It was great, there was help. In the courtyard, the head of the host family was sweating profusely from behind. It's over, he actually forgot about the little bastard in the doghouse. If the Dragon King finds out that they have locked his daughter in the doghouse, then their stay will be ruined. Damn it, why would that coward Long E be the Dragon King? He looked up at the man in front of everyone with a strong aura. Although he had the same face, it was completely different from his previous submissive appearance. Long Aotian could see the anxious expression of the head of the Su family. His face darkened and he immediately ordered someone to search for the source of the sound. However, for some unknown reason, his heart felt a bit heavy, as if he had just been in the front hall, with an inexplicable attraction guiding him to this courtyard. Seeing Long E sending someone to search the yard, the head of the lodging family was completely panicked. He kept glancing at the dilapidated doghouse in the corner, praying that no one would notice. Looking at the man's guilty demeanor, Long E snorted coldly and then walked straight towards the doghouse. Seeing Long E walking towards the doghouse, the head of the Su family was almost scared out of his soul. Sensing the footsteps getting closer and closer, Jiang's consciousness became increasingly blurred. Before losing consciousness completely, she felt a pair of strong and warm hands lifting her up. Is she saved now? At the Beijing Central Hospital, Long E stood at the entrance of the operating room with a gloomy face, looking at the tightly closed door in front of him. His heart was inexplicably aching. Sir, we have investigated and found out that this child's name is Jiang. She was born 2 years ago before the young lady of the Su family jumped off a building. Long Yi's breath froze and his throat tightened slightly. What about the paternity test I need? Here, sir. Long Yi didn't even notice that his hand was trembling slightly. Although it was just a page of paper, he felt it weighed 1,000 pounds at the moment. Jiang, female Long Yi couldn't wait anymore and saw the end directly. 99.99%. Father and daughter. He has a daughter now. It's his and Jasmine's daughter. But at this moment, besides the excitement of finding his daughter, Long Yi was more panicked. It was he who brought Jiang to the hospital, and he knew how weak Jiang's vital signs were. If he hadn't gone to the garden today and hadn't rescued his daughter from that doghouse, then Jiang would have died silently in that corner tonight. Long Yi's heart was throbbing, and he couldn't help feeling a little scared at the thought of it. If it weren't for Jiang's critical situation and his need to guard here, he would really want to go and raise the Su family now. Let Gu Qingqing fly over quickly. His subordinates beside him wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. How could this make Dr. Gu fly faster? He was flying a plane, and Dr. Gu didn't have wings. But it was the first time they had seen the Dragon King behave in such a state of composure. Last time, when Miss Jasmine jumped off a building, more than 10 people in the base pressed him to calm him down. Don't worry, sir. Dr. Gu will arrive soon. We have arranged for the best doctor in Beijing to perform the surgery on Mississippi. This anxious and powerless feeling was the first time Long Yi had experienced it, feeling very uncomfortable, as if an invisible hand was tightly gripping his heart. His daughter, so small that he didn't even dare to exert force when holding her, afraid that she might shatter like a porcelain doll if he accidentally did. Send someone to me to investigate what exactly happened 3 years ago and find out who was hiding my daughter's identity. Long Yi knew very well in his heart that the Su family naturally did not have the great ability to hide Su Jiang under his nose. Because of his mother's child, he has been investigating the Su family for years, but the incident of Jasmine jumping off the building seems to have been deliberately covered up by someone. His intuition tells him that the person is the mastermind behind hiding his daughter. Who could it be? His enemy? Long Yi took a deep breath, and coincidentally, the door of the operating room opened. "Doctor, what's wrong with my daughter now?" Long Yi quickly stepped forward, his eyes filled with worry. At this moment, he didn't have the usual calm and carefree demeanor. He was just a father who was worried about his daughter. There are too many injuries on the child's body, with multiple severe fractures and internal organ bleeding. After the doctor finished speaking these words, Long Yi only felt extremely heartbroken. Internal bleeding requires immediate surgery, otherwise it can endanger life. What is the success rate of surgery? Less than 20%. The child is suffering from a high fever, and long-term malnutrition has resulted in a much weaker physique than children of the same age. This is a critical illness notice. The family members need to sign it. The child's current situation can no longer be delayed. Hey, it would be great if Dr. Gu were here. If he were to perform the main surgery, the probability would definitely exceed half. As soon as the doctor finished speaking, 3 black bodyguards ran over the hallway. The 2 in front seemed to be carrying people on their shoulders, while the one behind was holding a small silver-white iron box. Sigh, Long Yi, you don't care about your people. How could you be stuffed into a car as soon as you get off a plane? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Rescuing My Daughter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Rescuing My Daughter, Dr. Gu. The doctor quickly recognized the man, which is a myth in their medical field. The genius physician Gu Qingqing. Give you 100 million, wake up my daughter. Before Gu Qingqing could recover his senses, he was dizzy by Long Yi's words. 100 million. Your daughter. There were too many explosive points, and Gu Qingqing couldn't bear it for a moment. But fortunately, he had strong professional qualities and suppressed his strong curiosity to follow the doctor to change clothes. Tie up all the members of the lodging family for me, and after my daughter's surgery, I will interrogate them one by one, especially the old man, and put him in a doghouse. Yes. Long Yi rubbed his eyebrows. Gu Qingqing's arrival temporarily calmed his restlessness, but lying inside was his daughter. Even though the surgery had a 99% success rate, he still dared not gamble on that 1% uncertainty. Moreover, the success rate of this surgery is only half. In the operating room, Su Jiang squinted her eyes vaguely, and there was not a single part of her body that was not painful. Why is it so bright? Is she in heaven now? Don't be afraid, you will be fine soon. Su Jiang completely lost consciousness. Time passes by minute by second, and Long Yi outside the door is as fleeting as years. The man leaned against the wall with empty eyes, closed his eyes wearily, and began silently praying in his heart. Jasmine, bless our children. I, Long Yi, feel guilty to your mother and daughter, so give me a chance to make up for it. With a loud sound, the door to the operating room was opened, and Gu Qingqing walked out, his brows full of fatigue. How is my daughter doing? Was the surgery successful? When did Gu Qingqing see Long Yi's awkward appearance? After being stunned for 2 seconds, he quickly realized and told Long Yi everything in detail. The surgery was very successful. First, put the child in the intensive care unit for observation all night. Her health is too poor, and even a slight cold can kill her now. I will help you keep an eye on her. Upon hearing the 4 words, successful surgery, Long Yi felt relieved, but upon hearing the following sentence, he immediately felt like a formidable enemy. Look at your soulless appearance, she can't really be your daughter, can she? It's my own daughter. What? Dear daughter, what international joke are you playing? How could you possibly have such a big daughter? Gu Qingqing opened his mouth wide. Who could tell him why Long Yi had a 3-year-old child on his first trip back to China? When will my daughter wake up? Without seeing Su Jiang with his own eyes, Long Yi still couldn't feel at ease in his heart. Don't worry, your daughter is lucky, and I'm here. I promise she will wake up tomorrow. At this moment, in the intensive care unit, Su Jiang, who had woken up early, stared blankly at the ceiling. Slowly, her eyes regained focus, as if suddenly having a soul. In the past few hours of fainting, Su Jiang had a dream where she met the original owner of this body and inherited its memories. In the dream, the original owner cried and told her that the world was too difficult, and she couldn't hold on anymore. She hoped she could help her live well and see the world she didn't have time to see. Su Jiang's mood was a bit complicated for a moment, but she still agreed that the original owner would avenge her. She actually became the daughter of the male protagonist in Long Aotian's novel, yes, the Dragon King's daughter who doesn't even deserve a name and starts off living in a doghouse. According to the plot, the original owner should have died in the doghouse today, and then Long Aotian collected the body of her daughter. However, the original owner died and she accidentally walked through. And the cannon fodder girl who lives in the doghouse has the same name as her. Dr. Gu, the child is awake. Gu Qingqing, who was still explaining his illness to Long Yi outside the door, stumbled and managed to stabilize his figure. Wake up. Even if the body is as strong as a cow, it is impossible to wake up so quickly, let alone the child's poor physical condition. How could he wake up so quickly? I'll take the exam, Long Yi. Stay calm, you can't just go in like this. Gu Qingqing quickly reacted and grabbed Long Yi's arm, while also desperately winking at the nearby bodyguard. Yeah, come and stop your master. The bodyguard coincidentally lowered his head and began pretending to be deaf and blind. Look at Long Yi's crazy appearance, who dares to stop him? Who stops who has sand coins? Long Yi, calm down. You're not a doctor. It's useless for you to go in now. Please calm your emotions first, and I'll go in and see if it's successful. Fortunately, apart from being excited, Long Yi still had a hint of rationality. Upon hearing Gu Qingqing's words, his rationality gradually regained control and calmed down. Please. Gu Qingqing was slightly taken aback. When had he seen the arrogant Long Yi speak to others in such a pleading tone? He felt a bit complicated for a moment, accustomed to the ruthless and lustless appearance of Long Yi in a high position. At this moment, Long Yi surprisingly had a hint of human touch. Don't worry, your daughter is my daughter. Due to the urgency of the situation, Long Yi was completely focused on his daughter, so naturally he didn't hear Gu Qingqing's words in his heart. As soon as Gu Qingqing came in, he saw Su Jiang's round and wide eyes looking around. If it weren't for her body covered in instrument tubes, it wouldn't have been clear from her bright and big eyes that she was still on the brink of death a few hours ago. She really woke up, worthy of being Long Yi's daughter, just like him, abnormal. Su Jiang. How could this person be so impolite? With such beautiful eyes, they would just curse at her. Judging from her appearance as a doctor, Su Jiang didn't argue with him anymore. She could feel that her physical condition had improved, and perhaps it was the person in front of her who saved her. Gu Qingqing carefully checked Su Jiang's various physical data and finally breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that everything was normal. Why is the little girl so thin? When you're better, I'll make a nutritious meal recipe for your father. By the way, I'm your godfather, my name is Gu Qingqing. Gu Qingqing looked at Su Jiang, who was thin and bony, with a heart-wrenching expression. Wearing the smallest medical uniform on her was like a loose robe, and her whole body was like that fragile white porcelain doll, fragile. Su Jiang blinked her eyes, her mouth thirsty and unable to utter a single sound, so she could only stare at Gu Qingqing. I'm going to find your father. If he doesn't go, he might be able to tear down the door of the intensive care unit. Dad. Is that Long Aotian? As soon as Gu Qingqing came out, he was startled by Long Yi, who was full of evil energy at the door. Why hasn't it been so long? Is it my daughter? Pooh, don't talk nonsense. Our daughter is fine. Upon hearing this, Long Yi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. But what is our daughter? It's clearly his own daughter. I've already paid you twice the compensation. Don't get involved with my daughter. No, you already admitted it before. Why did you cross the river and demolish the bridge? Don't talk too much. When can I see my daughter? Gu Qingqing rolled his eyes in silence and realized that having a daughter is different. I will observe for another night today, and if there are no major issues, I will be transferred to the regular ward tomorrow. Tomorrow, he will be able to see his daughter tomorrow. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. I am your dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. I am your dad. Why haven't you woken up yet, Gu Qingqing? Is there a problem with your medicine? How could it be? You can doubt my people, but you cannot doubt my medicine. It's so noisy. Just as Su Jiang regained consciousness, she was almost knocked out by Gu Qingqing's shout. The eyelashes of the little lump on the hospital bed trembled slightly twice, and slowly, she finally reluctantly opened her eyes. She had been accustomed to the darkness with her eyes closed, but suddenly felt uncomfortable with the glaring sunlight and quickly closed them again. Look, my daughter is awake. Gu Qingqing tugged at Long Yi's sleeve with a joyful and proud expression on his face, as if saying, look, his medicine is so amazing. Su Jiang opened her eyes again and saw his worthless appearance, but soon her gaze was drawn to Long Yi beside Gu Qingqing. It's nothing else, it's because this person is shining all over. Shining with golden light, almost as if writing on my face that I am the protagonist. I am Long Aotian, and I am your father. Long Yi looked at Su Jiang with a bewildered and confused expression, and his heart softened somewhere. His tone couldn't help but soften a lot. If it still hurts or not, just tell me. Tell Dad if you're uncomfortable. Gu Qingqing next to him almost laughed out loud at his sudden Iron Man's tenderness. For the first time, Long Yi became more fluent. It was also the first time he had faced such a soft little guy, and he didn't know if his breath would scare her. As soon as I thought about how hard Long Yi tried to pull out a smile that was considered nuclear goodness, I didn't know how terrifying this scene seemed to others. Su Jiang's heart pounded as she wondered why Long Aotian had to show such a terrifying expression to her, as if he was going to slap her. No. No. As soon as Su Jiang spoke out, her throat was cut like a knife. In an instant, a layer of mist appeared in her eyes, and her eyes were red with a look of strength, even though I was about to cry. Baby, don't talk yet. Come on, drink some water to moisturize your throat. Gu Qingqing didn't know when he had already poured a glass of water, but before he could reach Su Jiang's mouth, someone grabbed the back collar. Do you want to pour water on my daughter's face? Gu Qingqing turned his head with a disdainful expression, and then saw Long Yi extend his hand. The black-clad bodyguard next to him immediately handed over a pink milk bottle. The rigorous handover attitude of the two is like submitting a contract worth billions of dollars. Su Jiang. Gu Qingqing. No need, really no need, and she's a mature soul of 20 years old. Even if she's thirsty, she won't touch a bottle or something. A minute passed, and Su Jiang drank water with her pacifier in her mouth, as if a person in the desert had seen an oasis. It was so fragrant. Shame and all that, go to hell. She's currently a 3-year-old baby, and after drinking water, she'll grow up to 17 years old and turn back to 20. Is there a problem? No problem. Long Yi held the bottle with a serious expression on his face, watching his daughter's diligent drinking of water, and a hint of warmth slipped through his heart. Apart from being relatively thin, the little girl has perfectly inherited the genes of her father, Long Aotian. Perfectly flawless facial features, especially those beautiful eyes, full of spiritual energy, paired with her slightly curled long hair, like the little elf lost in the mortal world. After drinking enough, Jiang shouldn't open her mind. Okay, she has grown up to 17 years old now and is a mature woman of 20 years old. Stop drinking. Long Yiru asked in a soft voice. Full, Jiang. No, that's not her intention. She wanted to say she's full, but who can tell her why it's that little milk voice when she starts speaking. Okay, then I won't drink it. Long Yi listened to his daughter's moaning voice and thought she was playing coquettish with him, causing his father's heart to instantly soften. Does my throat still hurt now? Long Yi gently rubbed Jiang's fluffy little head, trying to control the force in his hand, and then repeatedly guided her along the dull hair on her head. No pain. Jiang learned cleverly this time and directly removed that tone particle. Are you called Jiang? It can be seen that she, the proud father of the dragon, is trying to find a topic for the two of them. Look at her unskilled and stiff appearance, she appears to be the kind of person who is usually very good at chatting. Yes, Jiang. No, this is not her voice. She was clearly trying to say, yes. Jiang pursed her lips unhappily, but seeing the eager gaze of her own father, Long Aotian, she thought for a moment and decided to say a few more words. After all, she is only 3 years old now and still needs this father as a support. She can't make him impatient now, maybe she'll throw her child back into the doghouse if she thinks she's not good at all. My name is Mama Dada, are you my dad? Jiang blinked her bright big eyes, it was a close call. She almost called her father Baba just now. Describing Long Aotian as a soaring entity is equivalent to sending oneself directly back to the doghouse. Long Yi looked at Xiao Nai Tuanzi's cute little appearance, and his mind was filled with Jiang's father, who had just let out a milky cry. This is a very wonderful feeling, just like the mysterious power that attracted him to the garden and found Jiang yesterday. Bloodline is sometimes so powerful that it cannot be expressed in words, but it is also the most magical bond in this world that cannot be replaced or severed. Yes, I am your father. In the future, I will take good care of you and not let others harm you again. The man's deep and sincere eyes were both firm and sincere. Jiang blinked and her nose felt slightly sour. Is it the emotion left over from her original body, or is it her own? Father's love, she once longed for it, but after experiencing her biological father's repeated favoritism towards her sister and neglect of herself, she no longer indulged in extravagance. At least she will still love herself. The thought of her disgusting father and sister still carefree in another world made her furious. Her revenge plan had not yet begun, so why did she suddenly come to another world? Looking at his own daughter's fierce and mischievous appearance, Long Yi thought it was because he had made Xiao Tuanzi angry, so he quickly comforted Xiao Jiang in a soft voice. What's wrong? Baby. Gu Qingqing beside him had a look on his face. It turned out that you were the kind of Long Yi, after all, treasures and so on, not quite like a rough man like Long Yi who could speak. I'm hungry, this damn little milk voice. Jiang swore to heaven that she really didn't mean to speak in this tone. As soon as he heard that his daughter was hungry, Long Yi quickly asked her in a soft voice what she wanted to eat, while the assistant beside him had already taken out a small notebook and started registering. Those who don't know thought they were attending some high-level meeting. The steak is 70% smooth, and I also want a glass to take off. Thank you. Long Yi. Gu Qingqing. Assistant. After finally ordering her meal, Jiang breathed a sigh of relief, but soon realized that something was wrong when she saw the expressions on everyone's faces. Yeah, it's careless. She almost habitually just ordered these. For her, it's normal, but for a pitiful 3.5-year-old living in a doghouse, it's too abnormal. The aunt at home said, "These are all things that Mama loves to eat. Jiang has never eaten them before. Jiang wants to eat them." Is that okay, Dad? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The ending of Long Aotian's father. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The ending of Long Aotian's father. Jiang blinked her innocent big eyes at Long Yi twice, her eyes filled with anticipation, trying to get by. As expected, everyone else couldn't help but feel sorry for this little pitiful thing when they heard these words. Especially Long Yi, as soon as he heard these words, he couldn't help feeling guilty. His daughter was supposed to be the happiest child in the world, having everything she wanted, but she suffered from his momentary negligence and was tormented. Damn the host, he's going to have someone level it today. Okay, what else? Stop, Long Yi, are you really planning to give Xiao Jiang these things to eat? Gu Qingqing quickly interrupted the conversation between the father and daughter. In his opinion, Long Yi is now at the forefront of fatherly love, and his daughter is the heavens, saying whatever he wants. Be good, Jiang. We need to recuperate now and cannot eat these things. Long Yi's eyebrows furrowed on the side, partly because he wasn't as careful as Gu Qingqing, and he didn't even notice that Su Jiang couldn't eat those. On the other hand, Gu Qingqing actually called his daughter Jiang, and this man is truly notorious for his lowliness. Since you can't eat what Mama likes, then Su Jiang's other things are all generous. Gu Qingqing felt that Long Yi, the daughter, was different from the other children. Apart from a bit unclear in her speech, she spoke clearly and her emotions were also warm and stable. If it were other children, after knowing that they couldn't eat what they wanted, they would definitely cry and make a scene until their goals were achieved, because in a child's heart, crying can get what they want. Children who can cry have sugar to eat, but the prerequisite is that someone gets used to it. On the other hand, Su Jiang, at a young age, could tell from her that the word steady was a replica of Long Yi. But Long Yi looked at Su Jiang's sensible appearance and felt a hint of heartache. His daughter actually didn't need to be so sensible and careful. Baby, you can actually cause trouble for no reason, get angry at me, cry at me, without having to hold your grievances in your heart alone, Dad. Dad will always protect you. Su Jiang. She is very confused. What have all these brain-boosting emperors done? She is really not picky about food. Is it also wrong not to be picky about food? Why do everyone look at her with a hint of pity in their eyes? Okay, but I'm hungry. Su Jiang no longer wants to struggle. Being coquettish is not her original intention. What she wants to say is, okay, but I'm hungry. Gu Qingqing, what can my daughter eat? Milk and light congee. The assistant on the side quickly took note and went to buy it without the need for instructions from the owner. Jiang, where is the most severe pain in your body now? Su Jiang, this little girl, acted too calmly. She didn't cry or make a fuss. If it weren't for seeing the terrifying wounds on her body with her own eyes yesterday, Gu Qingqing would have thought that this child was just suffering from a high fever. Long Yi also perked up his ears to listen. If Su Jiang said where it hurt, he would have to pay 1,000 times more in the corresponding area on the old man of the Su family later. It hurts everywhere. Okay, then torture that old man all over his body. Su Jiang suddenly felt that being a 3-year-old child seemed quite good. Apart from feeling a little ashamed while drinking milk, she couldn't be too happy at other times. At every moment, there are beautiful male dads and beautiful nurse sisters coaxing each other, and the small life of clothing and food is too nourishing. After a few days of careful care, Su Jiang's cheeks gradually grew a little flesh, and sitting on the hospital bed, she was like a small doll carved in powder and jade. This afternoon, Long Yi received an urgent notice that he needed to attend an emergency meeting in person. At first, Long Yi wanted to push it off directly, as it was a critical period for him and his daughter to cultivate their relationship. His daughter needed him. But when Su Jiang learned about this, she said he had to go to work for anything. Long Yi refused, so she resorted to both soft and hard measures. The final result was that her daughter, Nu Longi, was defeated and reluctantly kissed Su Jiang's forehead before going to the meeting. What should I do if my daughter is not clingy? I'm waiting online, it's quite urgent. After Long Yi left, only Su Jiang and the assistant who was ordered to stay and take care of her were left in the room. Why did she have to support her dragon-proud heavenly father? Of course, it was her Su Jiang who was going to do something big. Uncle, I want to watch TV, for Su Jiang's request, the assistant certainly cannot refuse. Can anyone resist a beautiful doll being cute and coquettish towards you? Anyway, he can't. In no time, Su Jiang was able to touch the laptop as she wished, and it was a new one. This is prepared by adults for fear that the young master will be bored. Can the young lady use it? If not, Uncle can teach you. Laughing to death, I actually asked her if a hacker could use a computer. This question is equivalent to asking if a fish can swim. But she is only a 3-year-old child now, still living in a doghouse, so it's normal for her assistant to ask this question. Su Jiang doesn't know how to do it. Uncle just needs to teach it once. Su Jiang is very smart and can learn it by watching it once. Su Jiang has proficiently mastered the way children speak, claiming to add cute endings, even cursing is the cutest. That's so impressive. Uncle, let's teach it first. The assistant demonstrated to Su Jiang how to turn on the computer, how to use the mouse, and how to watch the cartoons she wanted to watch. Of course, in the end, I don't forget to recommend the pink hair dryer that my 4-year-old nephew likes to see. After the demonstration, Su Jiang took the computer and repeated the assistant's previous operation. Because I slowed down my speed in order to show that I am not so proficient. Sure enough, the assistant was deceived and thought that Xia Chuanzi was smart. It was easy to remember at a glance. After all, children nowadays have a strong ability to accept these high-tech products, and the assistant has become accustomed to them. Miss, take your time playing by yourself. Uncle went to work over there first. Is there anything you want Uncle to know? Okay, Su Jiang nodded obediently and only began to do big things, and her assistant walked to the table 3 meters away. In order to avoid suspicion from the assistant, Su Jiang's typing speed seemed to have been slowed down 10 times, and from a distance it looked like a curious child typing and playing. His young lady is really obedient and well-behaved. She can play on her own with just one computer. Unlike his ignorant and mischievous nephew, the world has to revolve around him. While the assistant sighed, Su Jiang looked at the information appearing on the screen with a somewhat solemn expression. She looked up all the information about the lodging house and needed to know more. She only knew the general direction in the novel. After all, she likes to jump around while reading. But she remembered the ending very clearly. Her father, Long Aotian, had died. Yes, theoretically, this kind of Long Aotian protagonist would eventually become a man standing at the top of the world. However, in the end, he was actually scolded by a little villain 25 years younger than him. Is this reasonable? It's completely unreasonable. Although that villain is close to the demon, Long Aotian's father has eaten more salt than he has ever eaten rice. Unfortunately, Su Jiang jumped straight to the last page and didn't know the reason behind it. Perhaps the author also had her reasons for writing this way. I don't know if she can return to her original world, and I don't know if she died or became a soulless body in that world. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Little Villains. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Little villain Su Jiang became more and more confused as she thought, but in the end, she turned off her computer and decided to go out for a walk to relax. She has been staying in the ward these days, although accompanied by Long Yi, she still feels suffocated. Uncle, I'm going out for a walk, the assistant scratched his head in embarrassment. In theory, he should not refuse any requests from the young master, but there are too many uncertain factors outside. If there is any mistake from the young master, he may not be able to withstand Long Yi's anger even if there are 10. Jiang saw the assistant's concerns and had no choice but to use her trump card. Jiang really wants to see the outside world. She used to be locked up in that stinky doghouse, but now she's locked up in this small house. Jiang is so pitiful. As Jiang spoke, her eyes turned red as she struggled to squeeze out 2 tears that swirled in her eyes, giving her a pitiful little expression. Assistant. He's really damn it. The young master is so pitiful, he can't even make such a small request. At this moment, the assistant was successfully subdued by Jiang's cute attack. Wait, miss. I'll take you out for a walk, but we can only take a short walk in the hospital. Jiang wiped away her tears and immediately smiled brightly at her assistant. Okay, the plan was successful. When the assistant walked outside holding Jiang's hand, he realized what kind of foolish thing he had done. It was over, and when the master found out, he was afraid he would be directly sent to the mining team. Is it still possible to push the young master back now? But as soon as the assistant lowered her head, she saw Jiang blinking her watery big eyes at him, visibly excited. Well, he couldn't bear it anymore. Master, can we keep this secret from your father when we come out to play? Jiang certainly understood what he was afraid of, and this assistant was quite kind to her. She certainly wouldn't let him take the blame. Okay, there were not many people in the hallway, and after thinking about her identity as the proud father of Long, Jiang suddenly didn't feel strange. This floor was probably the luxurious ward where the legendary nobles lived. Miss, be careful. Just as Jiang passed by the entrance of a hospital room, the door was suddenly opened from inside, and a figure rushed out from inside. Everything happened too suddenly. Jiang's eyes darkened, and her slender body couldn't immediately respond to the commands of her brain. She could only watch the figure fall on her. Jiang. Is she still alive? Miss, are you okay? Upon hearing the panicked voice of her assistant, Jiang breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he is still alive. Yes. I'm sorry. Jiang was about to push away the lump that was pressing on her body, but she didn't expect that lump to apologize on her own. The voice is quite pleasant, it's a young boy's voice. Jiang felt that the weight on her body had become much lighter, and it turned out that the young boy had supported her body with his hands. Jiang finally saw the boy's appearance clearly. He looked like a noble young master, with red lips and white teeth, and soft short hair casually draped over his forehead. His pale skin was slightly sickly, and his delicate little face was full of astonishment. The two of them looked at each other and couldn't help but be stunned. Little boy. A moving doll. Jiang. Like her dragon-proud heavenly father, shining with golden light. Is it the little dragon king? Dumb, if you dare to run again, I'll kill you. Immediately after, a woman dressed in extremely gorgeous and flamboyant attire walked out of the ward. Without hesitation, she grabbed the young boy's back collar and lifted him away from Jiang. The young boy struggled fiercely in her hand, and the woman decided to slap him when she saw him so disobedient. Auntie, are you going to hit him? Jiang stood up slowly with her assistant's hand on the ground, calmly patting her sick clothes, and then seemingly casually asked. Auntie. Auntie. The woman stopped and immediately looked at Jiang with fierce eyes. Jiang wasn't scared too much either. At least there was a 20-year-old soul living inside her body. Who's bigger than their eyes? Sorry, she won. Being stared at by Jiang's big black and white eyes, the woman inexplicably felt that the little girl in front of her had seen through everything. Which cult child from this family has such penetrating eyes? The people who can live here are either rich or noble. She definitely wouldn't dare to take action against the child in front of her. If she offends a certain influential person, the Ji family may directly drive her out. Since we can't offend this little girl, she will go and pour her anger on this mute little girl later. Dumb, come back with me. Little mute. Why call him dumb? He can speak and just said I'm sorry to her. No, uncle can help me stop her. What are you doing? Believe it or not, I'll call the police and say you're harassing me. The assistant rolled his eyes silently. To be honest, if his young master had given an order, he wouldn't have even wanted to touch this crazy woman. Auntie, you haven't apologized to me yet, so you can't leave. Jiang thrust her two small hands into her waist and said solemnly. Apologize. Let Chen Yan apologize to the little girl who can't even speak clearly. Saying this out might make someone laugh at her teeth, and Chen Yan herself was laughing in anger. It was him who hit you. Apologize and find him. Chen Yan pushed the young boy hard, and he stumbled and almost fell to the ground. No, Xiaoguo. Brother has already apologized to me, it's auntie. You just scared someone and they want to apologize. Chen Yan pondered silently, and the girl who couldn't even speak clearly spoke one thing after another. Dreaming, you despicable girl, since you dare me to apologize to you, do you know who I am? Upon hearing this woman insulting her young master, the assistant kicked her knee socket and the woman's leg went limp before kneeling on the ground. Dare to provoke me, if you mess up, the Ji family won't let you go. Jiang touched her nose and began searching for information about the Ji family in her mind. Ji family. Those surnamed Ji, wait. Ga, the little villain of Long Aotian's father is surnamed Ji. Jiang suddenly looked at the young boy with his head lowered and remained silent on the side. Is this the little villain? In this way, the golden light on his body, just like Long Aotian's father, makes it clear that there is no such thing as a little dragon king. He is clearly a little villain. Only magic can defeat magic, only the shining villain can defeat the shining dragon Aotian. So, if she takes advantage of the villain and punishes him, will her dragon-proud heavenly father be able to live on forever? Wait, what kind of dangerous thoughts is she having? What is she thinking? She is a three-good youth in the new era. There must be other ways, such as turning enemies into friends. If the villain is Long Aotian's good friend, then the outcome may also change. However, it seems impossible for the two of them to be good friends. It's impossible for Long Aotian, a man in his 30s, to make friends with a little kid who is still in elementary school. Suddenly, Jiang's spiritual light flashed. Yes, why didn't she think of that solution? That solution must have worked. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The True Face of the Little Villain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The True Face of the Little Villain, Xiaoguo. Brother, my head hurts a lot in the back. Can you help me check if I just fell to the ground and got swollen? The best plan is for her to make friends with the little villain, and then frequently brush up with her Long Aotian father in front of the little villain. As soon as Jiang said that he had just fallen and hurt, the expression on the young man's face immediately became anxious. Jiang silently gave herself a thumbs up from the bottom of her heart. Sure enough, through her observation just now, this little villain is still kind now, otherwise she wouldn't apologize to her as soon as she bumped into her. The young boy gently flicked open the small curly hair on the back of Jiang's head, and there was indeed a big bump. I didn't mean to, I have medicine there for you. The young man opened his mouth in embarrassment, and the little girl in front of him, who looked like a doll, was actually injured by him. Mom is right, he is indeed a child who can bring misfortune to others. Xiaoguo, are you going to apply medicine to Jiang? She's going to feel nauseous and vomit herself. No. Without giving him a chance to refuse, Jiang took his hand and walked towards her own ward. The young boy's face was full of panic. No, he couldn't harm the cute little sister. He would bring her misfortune. Jiang noticed the resistance of the young man behind her, and her little hand couldn't help but clench even tighter. It seemed like it was time to take out her trump card. Xiaoguo, are you afraid? When the young boy heard Su Jiang's words, he couldn't help but make a sign. How could he not be afraid? He didn't remember anything. He was locked in this ward all day long with a bad woman who claimed to be his mother. Every night, he would be awakened by nightmares. Every time he woke up, he would fall into confusion. Who is he, where exactly does he come from, and what is he living for? Gradually, under the dual physical and mental torment of Chen Yan, who was a bad woman, he closed his heart and became unwilling to talk to others, allowing Chen Yan to scold him for being mute. Don't be afraid, there used to be many people bullying Su Jiang. Look, these scars were all caused by them. Su Jiang lifted her sleeves, her thin arms covered in scars that had not yet healed. The contrast between her blue and purple skin and her fair skin was intense, making her look heart-wrenching. The young boy frowned tightly, his gloomy face full of doubts. Why would someone hurt such a beautiful and lovely little sister? Does it hurt? Seeing the boy finally speak up, Su Jiang knew she had succeeded in her plan. It hurts, but Su Jiang is not afraid of those bad people who bully me at all. When I'm discharged from the hospital, my dad will take me to bully those bad people who bullied me back. Su Jiang put her hands on her hips and looked proud. Yes, her father, Long Aotian, said that when she is discharged, he will take her to teach the people of the accommodation house a lesson. Now that group of people is still locked in a doghouse by her father. It has to be said that Long Aotian's father is really amazing, truly worthy of being the great male lead of Shuangwen. Your father is very impressive. The young man sighed from the bottom of his heart, suddenly feeling a bit envious. Does he also have a father? It should be there, but why don't you come and see him? Of course, my dad is super annoying. He's a dragon. He's a descendant of dragons. Su Jiang transformed into a father and boasted that she must let this little villain know how powerful her Long Aotian father is. Xiaogua, you're just as greasy as my dad, he's very impressive. I'm not strong. No, you're super annoying. Su Jiang won't get it wrong. Xiaogua Gu is a very annoying person. Can you not be powerful? You can defeat the invincible male lead Long Aotian at a young age. Am I really that powerful? Yes, Brother Gua is super annoying. He is the most beautiful and annoying person Su Jiang has ever seen. It has been proven that no matter who they are, they will lose themselves in the repeated praise. When was the young boy praised so much? He was immediately overwhelmed by Su Jiang's heartfelt praise. Is he really that powerful? The assistant beside him widened his eyes. It's over, he didn't take a good look at the young master. This is not like cabbage being arched by a pig. It was clearly cabbage rolling into the pig's mouth, but it didn't forget to peel out the most delicious cabbage core from its own and feed it to the pig. Chen Yan, who was pinned to the ground by him, suddenly had a bright face as if she had been knocked over by a color palette. How could this little mute speak so much today? If he had spoken about his abuse, it would have been terrible. Jiyu, come back and go back to the ward with your mother, okay? Upon hearing this name, both Su Jiang and the young man were taken aback. Jiyu, originally the villain was called Jiyu. Jiyu, originally his name was Jiyu. Jiyu only knows his surname Ji, and this woman never calls his name, just a little bastard and mute. Before being autistic, I was a little bastard, but after being autistic, I became a little mute. This was the first time he had heard his name, and in a daze, he seemed to suddenly recall something, with some fragmented images slowly emerging from his mind. The huge living room, the icy rain, the pitch-black basement, and the panicked Chen Yan standing on the stairs. Seeing Jiyu suddenly holding his head in pain, Su Jiang felt a big headache in her heart. What's wrong with the little villain? After thinking for a moment, Su Jiang immediately hugged Jiyu's waist. Isn't that how it is portrayed in TV dramas? Embracing can relieve pain. It's just that their height is a bit awkward, it looks like she's hanging unilaterally on each other. Brother Gua, what's wrong with you? Upon hearing the nervous inquiry of the little girl, Jiang slowly regained his senses. Although his head was still tingling, he gritted his teeth and comforted Su Jiang's little head. What is this person touching her head for? It's not her head that hurts. Doctor, uncle, quickly call a doctor. Su Jiang's heart is so tired. Although she is just a weak and helpless 3-year-old child, why is she the most reliable one among these people? No need, I'm fine now. Are you really okay? Su Jiang raised her small head suspiciously, but accidentally bumped into the cold and deep gaze of the young man. Wait a moment, what about the naive little villain before? Before she could react, her feet left the ground and she was picked up by the young boy. Let go of my little master. The assistant quickly released the hand pressed on Chen Yan's shoulder. If we don't hurry up, the young master will be taken away. Jiang, this child's name is Jiang. He remembered that this was a group of perverts raised by the Ji family. Why didn't he just remember? It's over, his pitiful and helpless little master actually fell into the hands of this little pervert. Don't come over, I won't do anything to your little master. The young man's deep voice contained danger, and his eyes, like a cold pond, stared straight at Su Jiang. Su Jiang blinked her eyes and began to pretend to be foolish. She couldn't understand what the little villain was thinking in his heart right now. I have lost my memory. The young man spoke lightly. Well, Brother Gua is greasy and harmful, but now I remember a little more. Well, Brother Gua is super greasy, you're very interesting, I want to catch you back. Oh my God, this is not punishment. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Barbie Dolls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Barbie Dolls. No, Brother Gua has taken Su Jiang back. Dad will cry. Watching the little girl shake her small head into a tambourine, the boy chuckled softly. Remember to come find me tomorrow, do you know? The boy slowly placed her on the ground, and Su Jiang's face almost froze with laughter. As soon as she returned to the solid ground, she immediately ran back to her assistant with a clattering sound. Looking at the young girl's desperate appearance, the boy squinted his eyes slightly, his gaze becoming playful. Goodbye, Brother Gua. Uncle and I will leave first. Su Jiang tugged at her assistant's sleeve and gestured for him to leave quickly. Watching Su Jiang return to the ward and close the door, the young man turned around and looked coldly at Chen Yan, who was still kneeling on the ground. Have you forgotten my methods? Do you need me to help you recall them? The young man smiled innocently, but Chen Yan knew the meaning behind his smile. Although this child is her own, she does not consider her as her biological mother at all, because the blood flowing in his body is from the venomous snakes of the Ji family. I was wrong. Please don't throw me into that place. For the sake of giving birth to you, it's not easy. Please, Jiang. Chen Yan kept knocking her head, getting heavier and heavier, her forehead bursting, but she continued to knock as if she didn't know the pain. Is the 50 million I gave you not enough? How much money did others give you to take care of me this time? The young man had a sinister smile on his face, which was very penetrating. Chen Yan dared not lift her head at all, only feeling that she was about to return to hell. Upon returning to the ward, Su Jiang immediately threw herself onto the bed and opened her computer. Jiang. No wonder I thought this little villain looked foolish before, but I didn't expect it to be amnesia. Su Jiang was just planning to investigate Jiang, but with a click, the door was opened from outside, and her father, Long Aotian, had returned. Dad, what are you doing, baby? Su Jiang transferred her computer with a pink hair dryer to Long Yi for a glance. Is this a talking pink hammer? Long Yi successfully received a look of disdain from his own daughter. No, Dad, this is a little pig. Pig. Oh, that looks really impressive. The assistant beside him rolled his eyes silently. Even if the young master said it was her father, the adults would probably follow suit. Baby, do you like this? Long Yi magically took out a box of pink and tender Barbie set toys from behind, and Su Jiang's mouth twitched, revealing a joyful expression, looking extremely fond of it. Wow, it's so beautiful. In order to make the acting more realistic, Su Jiang even picked up a small comb and scraped the Barbie doll's hair a few times. However, she didn't expect the hair to tie a knot, and with one force, she smashed the doll's head off. Su Jiang. Long Yi. It's okay, baby, it's because its own head hasn't grown well. Dad will reinstall it for you. No, it's so scary. Su Jiang, don't play with this. Su Jiang immediately refused, let her go quickly. Well, let's not play anymore. What's the baby going to play with? Dad will accompany you. I want to play computer games. Looking at the little pig. Su Jiang pursed her lips and said, just look at the little pig, as long as you don't let her play with Barbie dolls. But soon, Su Jiang felt that watching the little pig with the dragon-proud father was also a torture. Baby, what is this? Little lamb, what about this one? Pony, what is this? Rabbit squeak. What about this, baby? Dog poop. Oh, then it looks pretty good. Dad didn't even notice it, baby is really amazing. Su Jiang. Her father, Long Aotian, is afraid of some serious illness. Finally, even though one episode was so brief, Su Jiang felt like a century had passed. Baby, aren't you looking anymore? No, Su Jiang lay on the bed feeling a bit tired, with a small face full of vicissitudes. We can be discharged from the hospital and go home tomorrow. Are you happy, baby? With a swoop, Su Jiang sat up from the bed, which was really great news. Finally, she could move her bed. Happy, this is Su Jiang's heartfelt joy. Because he was discharged tomorrow, Gu Qingcheng came over specifically to have Su Jiang undergo a full-body examination. Seeing the little girl, Gu Qingcheng was naturally very happy. When he came, he also bought a set of Barbie dolls of the same style as Long Yi, which is the kind that comes with a luxurious suite. Su Jiang. No need, really no need. The next day, Su Jiang got up early and finally was able to wear clothes other than sick clothes. Long Yi hurriedly helped Su Jiang wear a strapless skirt, and the two straps were wrapped around for a long time without understanding. Dad, this strap seems to be fastened onto this buckle. Well, Dad knows. Su Jiang. You know a ghost. If she didn't remind her again, this silly dragon might tie these two straps around her neck. Long Yi fastened the two straps and then shifted his gaze to the messy little curly hair on the small ball. Hair. Baby, shall we wear hats? Su Jiang guessed immediately that her father, Long Aotian, didn't know how to comb his hair, but as a sensible daughter, she would never tear down her father's platform. Long Yi picked up a comb and carefully combed Su Jiang's hair. Compared to his inexperienced appearance the first time, he would at least not pull off Su Jiang's hair now. After combing her hair, Long Yi put on a sky blue fisherman's hat for Su Jiang, paired with a suspender skirt and a fisherman's hat. Her dense little curly hair hung down to her waist, making her look particularly cute and obedient. Baby, Dad will take a photo for you. He needs to preserve the lovely appearance of his own daughter. Su Jiang was pulled to take several photos, her mouth almost froze with laughter. But fortunately, after taking the photos, she could leave. Su Jiang happily opened the door, but did not expect a young man with a gloomy face standing outside. No wonder Su Jiang always feels like she has forgotten something. It turns out she has forgotten the little villain. Didn't you agree to come find me today? The young man spoke coldly, automatically ignoring Long Yi standing behind Su Jiang with an unhappy expression on his face. Brother Gua, Su Jiang is going home today. Su Jiang smiled sweetly at Gu. Going home. Are you leaving? Yes, sensing the boy's increasingly cold gaze towards her, Su Jiang immediately tugged at her Long Aotian father's sleeve. Dad, this is Su Jiang's friend, a very annoying little pot. Brother. If we don't introduce the villain and Long Aotian's father to each other now, we may not have the chance in the future. Baby's friend. When did baby make friends? Su Jiang secretly said in her heart that something was not good. She was about to reveal her true feelings. And baby, why did this kid say you want to go play with him today? Su Jiang wiped the cold sweat from her forehead, and a strong smell of gunpowder permeated the air. It's so scary. Is her dragon-proud heavenly father going to be scolded by the little villain in advance? But on second thought, it's not certain who cracked it. The little villain is now just a little brat in elementary school, and now her father, Long Aotian, can kill him with just one hand. Okay, you go home. The boy lowered his thick eyelashes and cast a shadow under his eyes, making it difficult to see the emotions in his eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Heavenly Selection of the Eight Kings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Heavenly Selection of the Eight Kings. After Gu's involvement, Su Jiang felt that her father, Long Aotian, had been keeping a closer eye on her. After leaving the hospital, Su Jiang followed Long Yi back to his private villa. Baby, do you like this place? Su Jiang nodded. It seemed that besides being a bit silly, Long Aotian's father was also aesthetically pleasing. The location and surrounding environment of this villa were excellent, and what satisfied Su Jiang the most was the decoration style of the villa, like an ancient mansion. Like, this will be my dad and baby's home from now on. Shall we stay here from now on? Okay. The villa was well organized, and a white-bearded grandfather stood respectfully at the entrance. When he saw the little ball in Long Yi's arms, his eyes lit up, and his serious face couldn't help but feel a little excited. The servants working in the lobby and yard kept glancing at the situation here with their spare lights. With Long Yi here, they naturally dared not openly go to see the young master. Sensing the gaze around him, Long Yi calmly pulled down the brim of little Tuanzi's hat, revealing only a round chin. Just now, while enjoying the scenery, Su Jiang's eyes suddenly darkened, and she was puzzled by Long Aotian's actions. Dad, Su Jiang can't see anymore. Dad, what are you doing? Su Jiang, feeling a bit tired, took off her hat. After taking it off, her fluffy curly hair was messy in the wind. Long Yi couldn't help but take out a delicate small wooden comb from his pocket and start smoothing her hair. Su Jiang. Long Aotian, do you know that your persona has collapsed? Dad, I'm going there to play. Long Yi looked toward Su Jiang's finger and saw the fish pond used for fish farming in the yard. Upon learning that there was suddenly a new owner at home, the butler notified the workers overnight to add 2 layers of protective barriers to the edge of the fish pond. Okay, Dad will take you there. No need, Dad is very busy. Su Jiang is a big child now and doesn't need Dad to take care of her. The butler beside him. His young master is so sensible and moved. Rejected dragon-proud father. My daughter doesn't stick to him at all, it's so sad. The party involved, Su Jiang. I was disgusted by myself. Thank you. Baby is always the cutest child in Dad's heart, so really don't you need Dad to be with you. The butler next to him wiped his glasses with his hand, and even though he had lived for most of his life, he was confused by Long Yi's gentle and numb tone. Did his master take the wrong medicine? Dad, hurry up and get busy. Su Jiang will miss you. Long Yi placed Su Jiang on the ground and put on his hat again, feeling a headache at the thought of the official duties he had left behind to guard Su Jiang day and night these past few days. Hey, I'll accompany you when Dad's busy. Long Yi finished speaking and casually pinched Su Jiang's small face. The child's skin was tender and smooth, and he couldn't help but pinch it a few more times. When he let go, there was a bright red mark on little Tuanzi's face. Looking at this mark, Long Yi couldn't help feeling a little guilty. Are children's skin so tender? Butler, take care of my daughter. Okay, sir. When Long Yi left, he turned back 3 times with a reluctant expression, as if the two were about to part ways forever. Little master, do you want to see the fish? Okay. In no time, Jiang began to lie on the fence and look at her own dragon-proud father's fish pond with great interest. Why did she look so hard? Because the pond was not filled with fish, but with a bastard. Looking at the rows of Wang Ba lying on the shore sunbathing, Jiang's lips twitched and she almost burst into laughter. Butler grandpa, why does dad keep so many little turtles? Jiang asked childishly and naively. These are all sent by Dr. Gu. There's no place to keep them anymore, so we can only leave them here. The young master will choose one, and the butler will have the kitchen make it for you to eat at night. That night Jiang wants to eat this. Jiang pointed to the nearest bastard who was still leisurely sunbathing, unaware that he was about to be served on the dining table because he had not chosen a place to sunbathe. After selecting the 8th prince, Jiang followed the butler to stroll around the villa inside and outside. Without Long Yi, these servants became much bolder and stepped forward to greet the young master. After circling around, Jiang harvested a lot and her 2 pockets were filled with small snacks that children love to eat. However, her legs couldn't walk around anymore. The child's body was still too weak, and after walking around, her legs began to ache. As soon as Long Yi went downstairs, he saw his own daughter lying in a daze on the sofa with big characters. Jiang was already exhausted and just whispered hello when he saw his own father, Long Aotian, coming. Dad! What's wrong, baby? Are you feeling unwell? Long Yi heard Jiang's weak voice and couldn't help but worry, as Xuanzi's body had not fully recovered and there was a possibility of recurrence at any time. Jiang is so tired. Sir, I have wandered around the villa inside and outside today. I think I'm tired of playing. Upon hearing that Jiang was tired from playing, Long Yi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Let's go have dinner and then go to bed, okay? Jiang nodded, thinking that if it weren't for her personally chosen heavenly selection queen for dinner, she would want to dive straight into the blanket now. Looking at the sumptuous dinner, Jiang looked down at the bowl of porridge and a small bowl of Tianxian pork in front of her, and her eyebrows could not help frowning. Yes, with so many delicious dishes, only these 2 small bowls belonged to her. What's wrong, do you want Dad to feed you? Jiang shakes her head, and finally lowers her head and drinks congee in a muffled voice. Just hold on a little longer, she'll be able to eat delicious and spicy food in a few days. At least she still has the chance to choose Wang Ba Rou to eat. Long Yi withdrew his gaze in disappointment. He wanted to feed his daughter, but what if she was too independent? After eating and drinking enough, Jiang was taken to take a bath. Despite her desperate refusal, her father, Long Aotian, reluctantly asked the maid to give her a bath. After changing into her plush pajamas, Jiang's entire doll looked like a freshly baked glutinous rice ball, and her soft little face turned red from the mist. Long Yi looked at his adorable and explosive daughter, and suddenly had the urge to show off like the whole world. Coincidentally, the little one's birthday is approaching, and this is a great opportunity to show off their daughter. Baby, come on, Dad will take you to bed. Seeing that Long Yi had already changed into his home clothes, Jiang's eyes lit up. Long Aotian, who was dressed in his home clothes, had a completely different temperament from his usual suit, but still remained as handsome as ever. He was truly the man at the top of the pyramid, looking good in everything he wore. Okay, Jiang's small room is located next to Long Yi's room, and it can be seen that the decoration inside have been put in a lot of effort. At first, he planned to get a pink princess room, but after spending the past few days together, Long Yi realized that his daughter seemed to be different from the other little girls. My daughter doesn't really like Barbie dolls. It's also possible that the doll's head fell out last time and scared Jiang. She likes to play with the computer, although she only looks at the pink pig with it. I also have a special fondness for blue, and every time I play coloring games with my own daughter, the overall color tone of each painting is blue. The observant old father immediately changed the pink princess house into the current ocean-themed children's room. Baby, the room has just been painted and it may take a few days to move in. Let's sleep with Dad first. Okay, she can sleep anywhere as long as it's not in the doghouse. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. She understoos everything. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. She understoos everything. I was tired from wandering during the day, and Jiang almost slept on the bed. Long Yi awkwardly closed the storybook and even enrolled in a parenting class online in order to become a qualified single father. The teacher inside said that most children don't sleep well at night, and the best way to coax them to sleep is to tell stories. In order to tell stories well, Long Yi even read them carefully in advance. But before he even started, his daughter fell asleep. All online courses are deceptive. After covering Jiang with a blanket, Long Yi, feeling frustrated, simply closed his eyes. The milk fragrance on the child's body was very pleasant, and he couldn't help but embrace the little bun into his arms. Holding his own milky and fragrant daughter, Long Yi's empty heart was suddenly filled. Not only was his arms warm, but his heart was also warm. Finally, he smelled the fragrance of milk and slept peacefully. Early in the morning, Long Yi felt as if his chest had been crushed by a 1,000-pound boulder, making him gasp for breath. He suddenly opened his eyes and met Jiang's round, misty black grape-like eyes, because just as he woke up, the little girl's eyes were full of confusion. Where is she? Why did I pressure myself on Long Aotian's father? Being so heavy won't crush people, will it? Good morning, baby. Oh, still able to speak, still alive. Jiang gave her Long Aotian father a brilliant smile, and a new day began. Because he couldn't reach the wash basin, Long Yi specially prepared a small stool for Jiang. Jiang stepped on the stool and held a small toothbrush, brushing her teeth very carefully and meticulously. Seeing this scene, Long Yi's heart was almost melted. After brushing her teeth and washing her face, Jiang went on to the difficult part of dressing. She was considerate of her old father and specially chose a simple white hoodie and jeans. Dad, are you going to braid Jiang's hair? Watching Long Aotian's father carefully studying his hairband, Jiang secretly sighed in her heart. This silly father didn't even know how to use the simplest rubber band, so she thought of using a hairband. Dad, Jiang is going to wear this. Jiang pointed to the headband in the drawer over there. It's simple, just put it on directly. Long Aotian's father should know how to use it, right? Okay, Dad will put it on for you. Seeing Long Yi pick up a blue striped headband, Jiang breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that her Long Aotian father's aesthetic was still online. Before she could breathe a sigh of relief, all she heard was a click, and the headband broke in two on Long Yi's hand. Jiang. Long Yi awkwardly threw the broken headband into the trash can, pretending that nothing had happened. Baby, Dad. Dad wanted to break open that opening a bit and put it on for you, but I didn't expect it to be of such poor quality. With just a gentle force, it broke. That's right, it must be that the quality of this headband is too poor. Such a terrible headband doesn't deserve to appear on his daughter's head. Well, it's because its quality is too poor. Dad, it's so greasy and strong. Jiang started flattering again, anyway, praising others won't fall off. Long Yi, who was suddenly praised by his daughter, was in a good mood and chose a new blue cat ear headband for Jiang to wear. Today is another day when I was adorable by my daughter's new look. After putting on the cat ear headband, Jiang looked like a cute little kitten. Long Yi held up his phone and took a few wild shots, while Su Jiang cooperated very well in posing. She was able to meet Long Aotian's small request. After taking the photos, it's breakfast time. Su Jiang is happily nibbling on her sandwich. Why is she in such a good mood? Of course, it's because her father, Long Aotian, said he wants to take her out before dinner. Thinking back on what Long Yi had said to her before, he would take her to bully the person who bullied her back after she was discharged. It seems like today is the day. It's time to avenge the original owner on the people of the Su family. Long Yi noticed that the little girl was in a good mood, as if it was because of his words just now. The little girl may have thought she was going to take her out for fun, but he didn't take her out for fun this time. But what if his daughter is disappointed with him then? Do you think he's a scammer dad? Isn't his image in the daughter's heart shattered? Baby, Dad didn't take you out to play this time. Su Jiang bit into her sandwich and nodded vigorously. Yes, she knows. If your baby wants to go play, can Dad take you tomorrow? Because today is really important. Su Jiang nodded hard again, her headband was about to be shaken off. Important, she also feels very important. So, let's finish our meal quickly and seek revenge. Seeing that his daughter was truly happy from the bottom of his heart, Long Yi breathed a sigh of relief. After breakfast, the father and daughter left the villa. Long Aotian's home was too big, and the driver took more than 10 minutes to leave his front yard. It turns out that the nanny and gatekeeper of a wealthy family are really in a long-distance relationship. Seeing Xia Chuanzi lying on the car window with a curious expression, Long Yi couldn't help but take a few photos. Sensing that Long Yi was taking photos of her again, Su Jiang quickly began managing her facial expressions. She doesn't allow any ugly photos of her to appear on someone else's phone anymore. Dad, where are we going? Go to a fun place. Dad takes the baby to punish the bad guys. Su Jiang almost couldn't control the rising corners of her mouth, still pretending to be innocent, as if the baby didn't understand anything. I don't know how long it took, but Su Jiang watched as the car drove from the city to the suburbs and finally stopped under an abandoned building. No problem, the abandoned building is a standard feature for various violent activities. Long Yi held Su Jiang tightly in his arms as soon as he got off the car. Although this place was full of his people inside and outside, he was not afraid of anything, just in case, after all, the person behind the Su family had not been caught yet. He didn't originally plan to bring Su Jiang, but after all, these were people who had hurt the little girl. The little girl may have been relieved of the trauma she had suffered when she saw the bad guys who had bullied her being punished. Although children may not understand these things, Long Yi always feels that his daughter is different from other children, she understands everything. When Su Jiang saw the owner of the Su family who was locked in a small dog cage, the emotions left by the original owner made her tremble uncontrollably. I'm afraid of nothing, Su Jiang. It's him who's being locked in a dog cage now. Look carefully. Su Jiang took a deep breath, constantly hinting in her heart, and finally, the feeling of unease and fear in her heart slowly disappeared. Baby, don't be afraid. Dad is here, he can't bully you anymore. Long Yi gently comforted Su Jiang and patted the little girl's back again and again. He looked at the head of the lodging family with a look that seemed to break out of ice. Just now, when the little girl saw this old man, her trembling fear made him worried. It took a lot of torture to form an instinct. Similarly, Su Jiang also thought this way. The remaining emotions of the original owner were so heavy, indicating that the original owner was probably extremely afraid of this old man, to the point where he instinctively trembled at the sight of him. Oh, scumbag, damn it. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Her Bastard Friends. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Her Bastard Friends, Throw Him Out to Me. The host, who was confined in a cage, was thrown in front of Long Yi like a bereaved dog by someone carrying his collar. I'm sorry, Long Yi. For the sake of being your father. In law or Jasmine's father, please let me go. The man awkwardly got up from the ground and kept kowtowing to Long E as if unaware of the pain. Do you still have the face to mention Jasmine? Jasmine. Su Jiang's ears perked up. If I remember correctly, this Jasmine should be the wife of Long Aotian's father and the mother of the original owner. Don't think I don't know. Jasmine was forced to death by your host family, and now she almost killed my daughter. She's quite brave, Su Jiangye. Su Jiangye, who was kneeling on the ground, dared not even breathe. These days, he has been tormented crazy by Long E and his henchmen, and life is more than death. Xiao I'm your grandfather. Can you tell Dad to let him go? Su Jiang noticed that Long E had tightened her grip a bit, and it was obvious that this person named Su Jiangye had touched her Long Aotian father's bottom line. Since that's the case, then she'll add another flame. You're not my grandfather, you're a bad person, a big bad guy. You beat Su Jiang every day, but it hurts so much. In winter, you make Su Jiang kneel in the snow, don't give Su Jiang food, and even keep her in a doghouse. Every time Su Jiang said a word, Long Yi's face darkened a bit, and his gaze toward Su Jiangye seemed to be at a dead person. Dad, this big villain even said he was a bereaved star, causing his mother and father to die. But aren't you my father? Su Jiang didn't kill you, right? Su Jiang is not a bereaved star. As Su Jiang spoke, her eyes couldn't help but moisten. Tears as big as beans slid down her cheeks, and the little girl lay in Long Yi's arms, sobbing softly, which was heart-wrenching to watch. Long Yi felt the dampness and heat on his chest, allowing the little girl's tears to wet her clothes. He gently patted her back with one hand. Well, our baby is not a bereaved star, he is my dad's little lucky star. I can't believe what the bad guys say. Well, Su Jiang is not a bereaved star. Shall we punish this villain who bullied Su Jiang, Dad? The little girl cried uncontrollably, pursing her lips. The reason why she was able to lose her golden bean so quickly was largely due to the emotional influence of the original owner. Because she inherited the memory of this body, she also felt some empathy for the experiences of the original owner. This Su Jiangye is really damn. It's a miracle that the original owner can live to be 3 years old in his hands. Well, how do babies want to punish him? Wow, are these things up to her to decide? She's just a 3-year-old child. It is obvious that Long Yi does not intend to cultivate his daughter into a flower in the greenhouse. Due to his identity, there will only be many dangers around him. His daughter is destined not to be a simple child, after all, he cannot always be by her side to protect her. She has to be more sensitive and ruthless towards danger than other children. The mother of this child was so innocent that in the end, they were separated by yin and yang without even seeing each other for the last time. Then don't give him food, beat him to death every day, kneel in the snow in winter, and lock him in the doghouse every day. Su Jiang muttered in a muffled voice. Long Yi touched Su Jiang's head, and it was already very good. At least the little girl knew she needed to fight back. Also, Dad, this bad guy is afraid of snakes. We can lock him up in a snake's den. So far as Su Jiang points out, if we continue, she may be mistaken for a perverted child. Her face still looks aggrieved, so let's leave it to her Long Aotian father. She believed that his methods would not be any worse than hers. Kneeling on the ground, Su Jiangye was frightened and fainted when he heard that he was going to be locked up in a snake's den. The people in black standing on the side were all frightened by Su Jiang's innocent speech. They truly deserved to be the daughter of Lord Dragon King, who could come up with such a harmful solution at a young age. Well, are there any other punishments? No, although this villain is very bad, Su Jiang has already given him enough punishment. So Dad, it's time you punished him. Long Yi touched the little girl's fluffy little head, and his daughter was still too innocent and kind. Baby, Being kind to the enemy is being cruel to oneself, do you know? Got it. Tell Qi Shao that I will borrow his python and throw it into the snake's nest where this person is. Also, tell him that 5 snakes have a meal, and if you can't catch them, just wait to starve to death. Su Jiang understood that the reason why Long Aotian's father did not avoid her doing these things was simply that he did not want her to become a simple little white flower. But we cannot educate a child who is only 3 years old like this. Fortunately, she is a soul of 20 years old. If she is really a 3-year-old kid, she may have been raised crookedly by the strange education method of this proud father from a young age. I'm afraid there won't be anything more for that little villain then. Su Jiang is the biggest villain. By the way, little villain, she actually forgot about the little villain. However, according to the plot of the novel, no matter how big the world is, the villain and the male lead will always meet. The fact proved that Su Jiang's conjecture was correct. The next day, as she lay under the tree reading a book, she looked up and saw the demonic and somewhat sickly face. Isn't this a little villain? She kept talking yesterday and saw it today. Sure enough, the world in the novel is really small. Su Jiang closed her book and hid it behind her back, then smiled brightly at the young man. Gua. Brother, why did you come? The little girl is wearing a statement yellow fluffy skirt today, with her curly hair tied into 2 extremely asymmetrical ponytails by her father. Fortunately, with her face supporting her, she looks very cute and playful. Looking at Su Jiang with a smile like a flower, Jiyu thought of sunflowers, full of vitality and vitality. Every time I met her, she would smile at him. I don't know what the little girl looks like when she cries, but he suddenly became curious. She should also be very cute. Su Jiang didn't know the dangerous thoughts in the young man's heart. She was just a little curious about why the little villain would come to their house. Brother, are you here to find my dad? Oh, so touched. Her pronunciation has finally been corrected. No, I'm here to play with you. Su Jiang tilted her head and continued to pretend to be foolish. Okay, Su Jiang is so bored alone. Brother, let's go see Wang Ba together. Ji. What kind of ghost is Wang Ba? A few minutes later, Jiyu watched as the pawn prince fell into contemplation, while the little girl beside him excitedly introduced her prince friend to him. This is called Xiaoba, and this is its father, Lao Ba. This is called Xiaoqi, and this is its father Laoqi. This is called Xiao Lu, and this is his father Lao Lu. This. Alright, I don't want to know them. End of this chapter.